Hello and welcome to our YouTube channel Career Talk. We are so excited to have you join us for today's session on Saheli Sarkar's success story to become a Scrum Master. Friends, at Career Talk, we are dedicated to sharing our knowledge and experience with the Agile Scrum community. And today's session is no different. We hope that by sharing Saheli's success story, we can inspire and motivate others to pursue their goals and become successful Scrum Masters themselves. So thank you for joining us, and we hope you enjoy this session. And at the end, don't forget to hit like and subscribe to our channel for a valuable content on Agile Scrum. So without further delay, let's get started. Hey, welcome Saheli, and thanks for giving your time today.
Thank you, Sunan. Thanks for giving me another opportunity to talk to your session. And it's always very informative to talking to you and you with your channel.
Great. So friends, Saheli has created a presentation for us. So over to you, Saheli, and you can see my screen, Saheli, now?
Yes, I can see. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, floor is yours, Saheli, now. Go ahead, please.
Yeah. Hello all. I am Saheli Sarkar. I am having 11 plus years of experience in IT industry where I have worked. I've started my career as a quality assurance engineer and then I moved to Scrum Master role. So last couple of years, I have worked as a Scrum Master. So today in this session, I will explain you based on my experience, how I have started my journey as a Scrum Master and what are the challenges I faced and how I deal with it. So let's start. Sunand, I think you are on mute.
So this is the agenda for today. Your transition experience and challenges which you have faced, and most important, the lessons which you have learned, so that we as a Scrum Master, new Scrum Master, should not repeat those mistakes, right? So that's the whole purpose of this session, guys. Okay, please go ahead, Saheli.
Yeah. So to start my journey, as I mentioned that I have started as a quality assurance engineer, where that is in testing domain, where I have worked in automation testing, I have worked in performance testing. So in my previous organization, our client has decided that they want to move into agile methodology and they want to adopt the Scrum framework. So we started adopting the Scrum framework, and at that time I was introduced for the first time to the role called Scrum Master. So I will not say that on very morning I woke up and I like thought I want to be a Scrum Master, but yeah, gradually when we started working in the Scrum framework, I used to observe how our Scrum Master is managing the team. The most important thing which I liked at that time is that as we were the new team, suppose we have completed 30% of the work and 70% is not done yet. So he used to showcase to the client that 30% work in such a way that successfully completed work, so that they build a trust in the with the client, that they believed in us, that if the team with this many challenges can complete the 30% work, down the line maybe with 4 5 next few sprints they will be completing the rest 70% as well. And at the same time, like how he used to empower our team, like how to work collaboratively, how to work in a team work. So those things I admired a lot. And I had a one day I had a talk with my Scrum Master that I really like this kind of true leadership, and I think this is something which I can think of as my next career goal. So he advised me at that time that what you can do, you can start reading the Scrum guide as many times as you can, so that you can be familiar with the terminologies, what are the events, what are the accountabilities, what are the values, and you are already working in a Scrum team as a developer, so that will be a added advantage for you. So I started doing that. And at the time, luckily, I got to know from one of my friend about Sunan's channel Career Talk. My friend suggested me that if you have a aspiration of being a scrum master, why you can't just go and start watching their videos. They publish all the scrum master related important videos there. You will gain a lot of knowledge. And if Sunan can remember that there was a time when he used to publish all the events, they used to do it in a real time manner, like sprint planning. There was one scrum master who is acting the scrum master role.
Yes.
There are developers, and they are acting as the developers and the product owner. So I started, that was my first video I started watching, where all the events were separately published, and I really liked that, and I gained a lot of knowledge that how it actually works. So after that, I subscribed the channel. I used to watch the videos, and apart from that, I started reading the vlogs of the PST or the other agile practitioner, and I started reading the other articles. And I used to join any agile meetup if they are in my previous organization. I used to join there as a listener to listen how they are discussing the things. So it helped me a lot. Then I discussed with my manager, and at that time there was no vacancy for the scrum master role, but I keep on following up with my manager, that if there in every month once or twice I used to follow up with him. Then one day he came and he told me that, Saheli, there is a requirement for the scrum master role because we are having a new project in the pipeline. So will you be interested? So yeah, so as I mentioned that I was looking for a scrum master role, so I grab that opportunity. So to summarize my starting journey, I will suggest everyone who are aspiring to be a scrum master that try to start reading the scrum guide, be familiar with the terminologies, start watching the videos like in career talk or any other social media, start reading the article. And whenever you are getting any chance to start the role, just start it. Don't fear to start it. Fear not to starting at all.
Great. Great said. The last point is really great. Okay, I have one question, Saili, and this is not my question, but question from many people. You're not talked about any certification so far. You talked about videos, you talk about Scrum Guide. Absolutely, that's great. You talked about books, article, blogs. Absolutely fabulous. But then there is a myth, with a lot of people that you have to gain a certification first and then only you can start your job as a Scrum Master. So what do you think about it? What is your thought on that?
Yeah. So certification is important, but before that, as I mentioned, that to start, we first need to understand what is the role, the Scrum Master role. To gain that knowledge, we first need to have understanding on the Scrum guide. We need to understand how it actually works. So for that, what I believe that talking to the real time Scrum Master, and joining the agile meet, and reading the scrum guide or books will help you more at very initial stage. But yeah, parallelly you can do the certification as well. There is always a purpose behind every certification, but there is nothing like if you don't have certification you will not be able to start. You can start. Even I have done the certification after I started as a scrum master.
Okay, great. Great, Saili. So how's your journey so far as a Scrum Master when you started and now after I think couple of years gone?
Yeah,
Enjoying
so
it or
yeah, thoroughly I have enjoyed it, because this is something, as I mentioned, I was aspiring for to become. So definitely I enjoyed it. There was challenges which I will be discussing in this session,
sure?
but yeah, it was a great learning, and I am enjoying my journey.
Okay. Any other tips or any other suggestion which you want to give? Though you have talked about a lot of things, but before we move on to your challenging part. Any
Yes.
other thing
So
which are coming to your mind? Yeah.
yes, yes. So as I mentioned, that whenever, like if you see like you want to be a Scrum Master, so first you try to, like as I already mentioned, that you first try to understand the role and why you want to become a Scrum Master. You make sure about it, and if possible, try to fit yourself in a Scrum team first as a developer. If you are from a technical background, if not, that is fine. Then what you can do, like as I mentioned, that you can start reading the Scrum guide, you can start discussing in your agile practitioner in your organization, and you can take suggestion from them. What I did, and it was really very helpful, like I started reading the Scrum guide, I started watching the videos, and also discuss with your managers what is your aspiration, and keep following up on that until you are like landing up to getting a role on that you are
Sure.
aspiring for, like as a Scrum Master.
Sure. Just want to add one or two points over here, Sally, because I think it's an important topic to
Yes,
talk
yeah,
about.
sure.
So try to find some mentor within your organization. That's the very first thing. If not, try to find some mentor on LinkedIn. There are plenty of people. It's just like how you are reaching to them, right? So do that. Join different WhatsApp group or be active in those groups. Just don't be just there, be active, ask question, give your perspective. Let's see what other people are talking about. Build your foundation. That's very important. Take out one or two good books to read on thoroughly in the beginning when you're just starting your career as a Scrum Master, or at least you're even thinking to become a Scrum Master. So buy one or two good books, read it thoroughly. So those are the, I think, important things to talk about. Okay, Sahili. So let's move on. And I have one more now question for you, interesting one. And you have to be very honest. So a lot of people thought about that the role of a Scrum Master is pretty easy. Again, this is not what I am telling, but then that's the kind of thinking which people have. And now you have seen the both the work, the QA job which you are doing, right? And now you are a Scrum Master. So do you really think that the role of a Scrum Master is easy compared to a QA, because you already was QA, right? So your comment on that, say.
Yeah. So every role has its own challenges. So QA has its own challenges, and Scrum Master role has its own challenges. So I will like to say here, like it is very difficult to be master on Scrum. So it required lots of practices, lots of experiences to be master on it. So I have read somewhere where the author has mentioned that there are no such teams in Scrum or Agile who has reached the nirvana state of in Agile methodology or in any framework. So yeah, it is very hard to master. So yeah, it will be you will be gaining knowledge through your experiences. So yeah, it's hard to master. Yeah.
Okay. So you have given a political answer. Not yes or no, but that's okay. Okay, now let me ask you one more thing, and which a lot of people is thinking, and I think in a extent it's also right. So, do you see any monetary benefit when you move from a QA to a Scrum Master? Like, if you want to just share percentage wise, what was your package earlier, and then how much hike you got when you change your role as a Scrum Master?
Yeah, sure. So thanks for bringing this topic. This is a very commonly asked question to everyone. So yeah, so monetary gain is also a part of our job satisfaction to get some motivation, right? So yeah,
Absolutely.
Scrum Mastery is a very well paid job. I got like based on my experience, I can say that I went for an interview where the interviewer told me that if you are the right candidate which we are looking for the Scrum Master role, and if you have the correct skill set to bring a change in our organization in agile way of thinking or working, then we have budget and package is not an issue. So I got in many offers where they are like offering more than 100%, Okay, and I have seen in my within my colleagues that they got 150 200% hike as well for the scrum master role. If you have the
Oh,
correct skill set, it is a highly paid job.
okay, that's great. That's great. So it's like doubles. Let's say, assuming you are getting 10, so after this, you are
20.
getting 20. Okay, that's great.
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay, I think we are good, Sahili. So if you allow me, shall we move on?
Yeah, sure.
Next slides. Okay. So guys, hit like button. The journey is incredible, Sahili. Thank you for sharing this with all of us. It's again, it's a courage which required to come on the open platform and share your experience with others. So thanks a lot, Sahili.
Thank
Okay,
you,
guys, so
Simran.
let's move on. Yes, challenges which we have faced as a new Scrum Master. So let
Yeah.
me take you to the next slide. Okay.
Okay, so here I will share with you all, like as I mentioned in my journey, that I have started with a new team. So the project was starting from very scratch, and me as a Scrum Master and the product owner was finalized for that project. And we got a lot of like the management gave me and the product owner few profiles, shortlisted profiles for the developers, and we are asked to choose between them 4 5 developers. So me and product owner was watching those resumes, and we thought, okay, this person is having Java skill, this person has worked in architectural part as well. So like that we have chosen 4 to 5 profiles, and we have onboarded them. Now after 4 5 sprints, what happened, that we got to know there are few more technology required to finish all the features which we didn't anticipated previously. One of the skill set was like rich faces, I can remember, and other skill set also there which were not present currently in our team, and if we need to train them, it will take some time. So from there, because I was new, I was not aware of all these things. So I learned from there that instead of me as a scrum master directly choosing the developer, it is helpful that when you like got the profiles from management or externally or somewhere else, you can have an open discussion with all the shortlisted developers where you as a scrum master can elaborate what is the scrum way of working is expected from them, and the product owner can describe the high level product goal which we are going to achieve, a high level because it's a new project, so a high level product goal. And if there is any architect from external is present who will be initially helping that team, so that architect also contribute like what are the skill set might be required, and then let the developers decide that based on the technology is required, who will be most suitable for the team. So as a scrum master, now whenever I am getting any new team, instead of I am going and selecting people, I like schedule any meeting, whether it is virtually or physically, and we call out all of them, and we make like, since the developer will be the one who will be delivering the work, so they can rightly choose the best team for the developers who will be able to give a valuable delivery. So I have learned from my agile trainer that instead of fishing for them, let them fish. So let them decide like how they want to organize the work, how they want to select the team. So as a scrum master, initially I faced this. So I thought I would like to share with this, if any scrum master who is new and joined a team that is also new, they can apply this.
Absolutely. And Sally, you remind me for this practice. Guys, maybe if you are based in India or maybe some other country, maybe this thing seems little odd, but this is very common over here in Europe, right? At least in Netherlands, I have seen. So let's say if you are selecting any individual, let's say developer, tester, architect, anyone at least, even the Scrum Masters, right? So you will have your first round, then you have your second round, then maybe you have a third round, manager round. Before that round, they will make sure that you have an interaction with the team. So at least 3, 4 team members will be there in that interview, and it will be like very open-ended. They will talk about their challenges, their issues, and they will going to ask you, okay, what you will do in those kind of scenarios, situation, and they will observe you, your complete personality, how you are interacting with them, what kind of personality you have, right? So that will be around 45 to 1 hour of session. And that's very important, as mentioned by Saheli, because you are going to work with that team, not maybe your interaction with that manager will be very less, maybe, I don't know. But the team is there, right? They are going to interact with you on day-to-day basis. So this is very common practice. And I really like that particular thing. That team can decide whether they want this person or not. Why any individual will decide on behalf of the team, right? So I think that this is very good practice, and if you guys are doing back there, I think is really wonderful, and we should talk about this a lot. So that's really a great thing, Sally. Okay, great, good. Shall we move on? Sally, or
Yes,
you want
sure.
to add something? Okay, good.
No, sure, we can move on.
Okay, next point, Sally.
Yeah. So this is very common challenge which all the Scrum Master, we as the new Scrum Master, we always face. So before going to this topic, I will first try to elaborate on the part that what is daily Scrum is all about. So daily Scrum is an event where the developers synchronize among themselves and they discuss their next 24 hours plan to reach the sprint goal and what are the impediments they can see which needs to be removed first. So that is the daily agenda, main agenda behind daily Scrum. Now, what time box means? So time box means maximum that specified time we can use for that particular event. Suppose you are giving any exam. So your exam timing is 2 hours. If you can finish it within 1.5 hours, fine. But can you say that I need 5 more time, like 5 minutes more to finish the exam? We cannot say that, right? Because that will like the whole idea behind the taking the exam will be lost then. So that is the reason of being time boxing any event. So now come before coming to this 15-minute or 10-minute time boxing part, I would like to explain here how as a new Scrum Master I used to do the daily Scrum and how I have improved it. So as a new Scrum Master, I knew that there are 3 questions in daily Scrum which all the developers need to answer. What we did yesterday, what our plan today, and what are our impediments. So what I used to do, I used to ask every developers these 3 questions. And gradually, I have observed that we are not able to make it within 15 minutes. And at the same time, I thought like, what is the value as a Scrum Master I am adding here? Because these 3 questions, anyone can answer. Like anyone can ask also and they can answer as well. So why, what is the value I am adding there? So then I started, as Shunan mentioned, that in initial days, you need to start reading the articles, you need to be part in various agile groups, and then you need to start the reading the articles. So I have read couple of articles on Scrum and the books where the daily Scrum has been described very in depth. So there, then I understood that their developers are the main participants. Even if a Scrum Master is not there, they should be able to run it effectively. So in my next retrospective, I have raised this topic with my developers and I asked them like, see how we are doing it, it is becoming more on status call rather than effectively discussing our next 24 hours of planning the work, or like what are the impediments, so how effectively we can do it. So then like I suggested from my end that let's not individually take up the day plan. Since we are working collaboratively in a team, why don't we come up with a collaborative work plan instead of all the members are coming out with their individual plan? So this is something which we are doing in silo, right? So they understood, and they then told me like, yes, what we can do, instead of taking individual data, we can ask who is stuck, who need help, what is our next 24-hour plan to reach the sprint goal. So we can discuss in this way. If there is any impediments, let's discuss how we can resolve it after this meeting, like this daily scrum. So from next sprint onward, we started doing this, and I have observed significant improvement in our daily scrum. Not only that, we are able to complete it within 15 minutes. We are not taking it more than 15 minutes. So now coming to the point, why it is mentioned in daily scrum that it should be 15 minutes, not 10 or 20 minutes. This is because, like, we know that Scrum is based on empiricism, that is based on evidence, based on experience. So it has been observed. It has been like with a long-term experience, it has been seen that if daily Scrum is running effectively, so with a team where the team members are between 5 to 10, it should not take more than 15 minutes. If it is taking more than 15 minutes, then as a scrum master we need to find the root cause. As I have observed, the root cause is like we are taking the like kind of a status from everyone in silo mode, which is not the agenda behind the daily scrum. So for the new scrum master, my suggestion will be based on my previous experience that when it is going beyond 15 minutes, try to find out the root cause. And instead of you asking any question there daily in the daily scrum, mentor your team or train your team to ask the effective questions among themselves, so that they can be self organized in the daily scrum, and even if you as a scrum master are not present there, they will be able to make it effectively. So that's Sunand, I thought to share with the team.
Wonderful, wonderful. I think you have summarized very well all points you have covered, and that's great. I don't have anything on this, honestly.
Thank
So, shall we move on?
Yes, sure.
Okay. Yes, this is again one of the most
Yes, yes,
asked.
sure. So, Sunand, when I like started at that time, I used to literally go to Jira, and I used to update the user story status, like it is from defined to in progress to completed, like that I used to do. And initially, frankly speaking, I was not having any issue doing that. But gradually, I understood that it is taking more time, because I am going to the developers, I am asking them, then I am coming back and I am changing the status. So it is, how can we improve on this? So I discussed this with my team and all the developers. Like I asked them, what is the difficulty you are facing to update the Jira on time? Because you can see that I am going to you and then you are giving me the update, and by that time it's getting late. And since you are working on those user stories, you will be the right person, you all will be the right person to update it. So what are the difficulty you are facing? So they told me like, Sahili, we are very busy on the development activity all the day, so we are not getting time to update it. So I asked them like, what the maximum time you need to spend on updating this? So they told me that it should not take more than 5 minutes in a day. So I said, can we do it before logging off? Can we make it a practice that before logging off, you all will check once if anything needs to be updated and you can update it. So they said like, yeah, we can do that. But there is one developer who asked me, Saheli, in Scrum, there is nothing mandatory mentioned as a tool like you have to update the tool, you have to update the Jira or any other tool you are working on daily basis. So what is like it is mandate in our project, why it is so? So then I explained my developer that yeah, I can totally agree with you that there is nothing mentioned in Scrum guide that you need to use any tool or you need to keep on updating it. But in Scrum Guide, it is mentioned that your work should be visible and transparent. Now, how will you make it visible and transparent? So there we can use one tool where we can log our work and we can make it transparent to everyone who are involved in that project, whether be it our internal team members or the stakeholders. So if they have any doubt that this feature need to be completed by this time, so what is the status? They can come anytime and they can check it. So by doing this, we are making our work visible and transparent. So in the Jira, if you are updating it on time, so you are enforcing the fact that we are making our work transparent and visible at the same time. So then he got convinced and then he understood that what is the agenda behind that, instead of doing the coding or the testing work, why this is equally important. So it is anyhow reflecting your work in the tool, what you have done so far. So then he got convinced. So here I will suggest all the new Scrum Master that instead of you, like again, I will say that instead of fishing for them, let them fish. But you try to understand what is the difficulty they are facing on doing so and help them on that area. By this way, they will be gradually self-managed. If you do it behalf of them, they will not be able to self-manage.
Wonderful, Sally. Great. And not only Jira, there are a lot of
Hmm.
things. So sometimes minutes of meeting and
Right.
meetings and this and that. So we have to understand that it may be one of the responsibilities, maybe one of the responsibilities, but not the responsibility. So apart from admin or PMO or a facilitator, right, you have other different responsibilities as well, right? But then for whatever reason, this is the only thing which people thought about when they think about a Scrum Master. And I don't think there is yeah, I mean, there are a lot of factors behind it that why they are thinking so, because still the role of Scrum Master is still after so many years is not clear to many organization, and they mix and match this role with a lot of other things, right? So that may be the reason that you might get confused that, okay, my Scrum Master is doing this only things and that's it. I have to do this only. And this is pretty easy, right? I just do 2 days certification and yes, from Monday onwards, I will be also a Scrum Master. So, but that's again a myth. And thanks, Sahili, for bringing me up. So, great. Okay, let's move on.
Thank you, Sunand. Yeah.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah. So in this question, like who will be watching this video, they might think that how this can be a challenge. So let me share one of my experience that I have worked in my previous organization in a project where I used to get request internally and externally as well that we are agile, so we should be flexible to adopt any changes coming in our way. Okay, so we in the name of agile we have been asked so many changes to accept, which I can clearly see that no way adding any value to our delivery. But since I was new, I was confused, I was not aware how to deal with this kind of situation. So I had discussed, as Shunan mentioned, that mentor is very much required. So I had discussed with one of my agile coach in my previous organization that I am facing this. So how to deal with this kind of situation? So the first question he asked me, Sahili, tell me, is Scrum a methodology or a framework? So theoretically, I knew it is a framework. I said it's the framework. So he asked me why. Why we don't call it a methodology? So then he explained me the difference between methodology and framework, which I will explain here. Before that, I would like to give you an example. Suppose you want to buy a 3 BHK apartment. Okay. You have finalized your which apartment you want to buy in a building, and you finalized it. So you got your area, 3 BHK area. So inside that structure, you can customize it. Like if you want that, I don't want any drawing room. I only want dining and 3 bedrooms and kitchen and washroom. Perfectly fine, right? Still, it is meeting your uh, way of living style. It is completely fine. Now, if you say that I have bought this part of area, so I want to increase a bit in the front end. Are you allowed? No, right? Because doing so, it might impact the stability of the whole building. Your whole building can shut down if you increased a bit, maybe in the front end a little bit. If it was allowed, they could have been done the structure like that way only, right? So in Scrum also, is in the name of framework, we have structure where the events are there, values are there, accountabilities are there, and we can discuss this in other session in details. But I can tell you as of now that behind everything which is written in Scrum Guide, there is some reason. There is reason why there are these events has been prescribed in Scrum, why the accountabilities, these 3 accountabilities has been prescribed in Scrum. So if we disturb the structure or the framework of the Scrum, we will disturb the whole Scrum, the meaning behind the whole Scrum, the agenda behind doing the Scrum. So if we are customizing there, then simply we are not doing the Scrum. So as a Scrum Master, whenever you will be getting any request of changing something, you need to first understand whether it will disturb the framework or not. If it will disturb the framework, then you need to, like as I given you the example of a building, like that you can give any example. You can give your real time project experience also, while changing, like accepting those changes, how it impacted your project. So you need to convince to the person who will be coming with those kind of requests by telling them that why we call Scrum a framework, because it is a lightweight thing, and there we have some structure, as I mentioned, in the form of event, values, and accountabilities. So if we disturb that, then the very intention of doing Scrum will be lost. So first we need to understand that, which I was not aware initially, but my coach mentored me on that, and then I got to know how to deal with this kind of request. So I hope it will be helpful for you as well.
Absolutely. And the example which you have given is great, Sally. Good. Okay, yes. Brilliant. Sprint review and sprint demo. What's the difference?
Yeah. So I think till now there are some confusion that whether we should call it a review or we should call it a demo. So before going to that, and people use it as, like as a synonym to each other. So before going what it should be called, I want to explain what is the difference between review and demo. Suppose, so for demo, suppose you have seen in YouTube any movie trailer, 5 to 10 minutes movie trailer, and you didn't like some part of it.
Hmm.
Will you be going to the director or the actor or the producer at very that time to say that this part I was not able, I didn't understand, I didn't like it. It will you be able to do it? No,
No, I don't.
no, right? But before the movie will be released to the public domain, there are some premiere happens. There are some like censor board approved that movie. They watch that movie. We have seen that after those kind of premiere, some part of the movie has been changed, something has been deleted, some scenes has been deleted, and it also been observed that based on their feedback, sometimes the movie title also got changed before it released to the customer, right? So review is a bi-directional process where we show them our progress, and in terms of Scrum I can say that we show them how much we have completed and what is left in terms of to reach the product goal, where we take the feedback from the stakeholders, from the product owner. The developers also discuss their challenges which they have faced to reach so far, and what are the challenges they can foresee for the upcoming work. So this is a bi-directional process. But when we are giving it demo, it's an unidirectional. We only can watch. It is not a show and tell process. So that is the difference between review and demo. So if we are calling it as a demo, that means the developers is only showing their work. There is no feedback or no discussion happening. So as a Scrum Master, we need to facilitate the sprint review in such a way that it doesn't become a demo. It should be an interactive session where you can plan your next sprint's work. So yeah, so this I have faced. So I thought to bring this topic in this platform so that who will be starting as a new Scrum Master, it will be helpful for them. They will not get confused between review and demo.
Sure. Great. Great point, Saheli. Okay. Yeah, one more.
So this one, I think everyone will like have faced in some part of their career as a Scrum Master, this kind of challenges. So before going to this challenge, like adding team member will increase velocity or not. So what velocity actually is? Velocity is how much work I have completed, my team has completed for that particular sprint. That is the team velocity for that sprint. Now, you as a Scrum Master will be getting kind of request from external management or like internally that, okay, so you have 5 developers, and with 5 developers you will be completing the rest part of the work. Maybe you have forecasted that I will be able to complete, our team will be able to complete in next 6 sprint. So now you will be getting requests, okay, there are 5 developers now, we will be giving you 5 more developers. Now you will be having 10 developers. Now you should be able to complete it in 3 sprints because we have now double the count of the developers. So now what the challenge here? First, when you add any team members in your team, new team member in an existing team, those new team members will need some time to cope up with the existing team working style, their level. To reach their level, they need some time, they need some training, they need some KT to be accustomed with the existing team, with the existing teamwork. They will not be able to be as doing the work as the existing team is already doing, right? So that is the one point. Now, the second point is, as per the Brooks law, when we are communicating with any team members or any person, some communication channel generated in our brain. Okay. So the formula of this communication channel is n into n minus 1 by 2. Now, why I'm saying this, suppose you have 6 team members. So the communication channel you are dealing every day is 6 into 6 minus 1 by 2. That is 6 into 5 by 2 equal to 15. So you individually has been dealing with, your brain is dealing with 15 communication channel, and it will keep on get increased when the team members will get increased, the communication channel will get increased, and your brain have some capacity to take it, right? If we are giving any software the data beyond its memory, or if it has reached to maximum or like almost is memory level, it will hang, right? That's happened to our brain as well. It has been observed, it has been experimentally seen. So when we are dealing with many people, like more than 10 people or more than 8 9 people, so the communication channel get increased and our performance drop. Why? Because we are not able to focus, our brain won't be able to focus as you were focusing previously when your team was small. So why in Scrum it is said that your team members should be 4 to 10 people? The reason is that only, so that you could be more focused and you can work collaboratively so that you be more productive. Small teams are always very productive due to all these logical reason. So whenever you as a new Scrum Master will be facing this kind of challenges, try to convince with this logic. I believe it will be helpful. It helped me a lot. I believe it will help you also. So, Sunand, I think
Yeah,
that will be helpful for the team.
yes, yes. And whenever we add any new team member in the team, right, our velocity will obviously will decrease, not
Yes.
increase,
Yes.
because obviously that new person will take time to
Hmm.
adjust, and he will take, things will going to happen. So it will take time.
Yes.
So yes, in a short duration, the velocity will obviously will decrease. But as you mentioned, right, try to be as small as possible so the communication channel will be less and we can interact a lot with each other, right?
Hmm.
So that's the philosophy, that's the underlying reason to have those specific numbers, right? So that's great. Okay. Yes. What is the sprint zero? Sorry.
Yeah. So, Sunand, as I mentioned that I have started, when I started as a new Scrum Master, the team was also newly formed, right? So at that time, we got requests like from the developers, and the product owner also mentioned that we need two readiness sprint or sprint zero, 2 weeks to sprint, so that we can be ready with our backlog items, and developer can be ready with their code base setup and all other activities. So as I was new, I was not aware of these things should be done or not should be done. So I said okay. So we had 4 sprints, which called sprint zero, where we have not delivered any value. But after the 4 weeks, like after 2 sprints, the third sprint was our actual sprint where we have started working on the feature. Now, while working on the feature, when we did this and we went to the sprint review, then we got to know that this piece of work we have done, that cannot be released to the production, because the service which the feature will be interacting into, that service is not yet ready. So anyhow, if they complete this, they need to complete it by using a mock. They won't be able to see in the real service. So anyhow, it won't be able to release in the production. Instead, if we could have chosen any other feature and we complete it, then maybe by that time this actual service will be ready and we could have taken that work as a second priority. So my point here is like, see, if we, this thing is fine because the team was new, they were not aware of all these things, but you can understand that how much time we have wasted there. 2 sprint 0 and 1 actual sprint, that is almost 1.5 months. Instead of doing that, if we could have taken a small piece of this work only and we could have started it, then in the very second week we may got to know from the during the review that this piece of work maybe need to be changed. So we could have saved 1 month time still, right? So I have like read in couple of books where the author have mentioned that fail early so that you can fix early. So here, bringing this topic, my point is whenever as a Scrum Master, you are starting with a new sprint, encourage the product owner to come up with a small piece of work which is less risky, at the same time will be valuable. Start with that. Code based setup, architectural work, backlog refinement, you can do it parallelly in your actual sprint. So by this, you can save, eliminate some waste. As I mentioned, that 1 month waste could have been avoided. So there is reason why Scrum always focus on value delivery. Be it very small delivery, but every sprint should deliver a business value. So that is the reason, as a Scrum Master, when you see any kind of request of a special kind of sprint like hardening sprint or sprint zero, just try to explain your team with this example, like how we can eliminate the waste by delivering a small piece of value. Start with small piece of work with less risky work. That is completely fine. So yeah, Sunan, anything you want
Great.
to add?
No, I think you have covered up pretty well. Don't want to unnecessarily add on anything on that and make this session. So yeah, perfectly you have summarized this pretty well. So we don't have anything called sprint zero or hardening sprint. These are the concepts from different I would say methodologies, but then it's mix and match. Some people use it for various reasons. Yeah, so but then we should avoid it as you mentioned, right? So there is nothing called sprint zero or hardening sprint. Okay, let's move on. Yes, again, interesting one.
Yeah. So to explain this, Sunant, as you all know by now that I have started my career as a tester. So when I worked in automation testing role, I worked in performance testing role. So when I used to work in performance testing role, if there is any, so my title at that time was performance test specialist. So I worked in automation as an automation tester as well. So at that time when I would work in performance testing project, if any thing coming on the functional part, even if I know the solution, I always think like, okay, I am a performance tester, I should be only concentrating on the work which is related to performance testing. So here is the learning that when we are giving any particular title like automation test specialist or Java specialist, we always try to or tend to justify that title only and the work related to that title. Even if we are capable of doing other value add, other work which will add the value as well. So in Scrum, you all can see that everyone is developers. There is no Java specialist or test lead or test specialist. Why? They remove the titles because in Scrum, they promote to work collaboratively and to be accountable for the delivery as a team, as a whole team. So it sometimes contradict when you give any titles to the team members. As I mentioned that they tend to, it is human tendency, I also did that in my previous years of career, like only tend to justify my title. So that is the reason in Scrum all are developers, there is no specialist, there is no lead, so that everyone hold accountability, responsibility of what they are delivering.
Yeah, so we succeed as a team, we fail as a team.
Yes.
So it's always we and not I. Uh, that I would say over here. Okay, great.
Right.
Yeah, management buy-in.
Yeah. So here, in my initial days, I faced a lot of like challenges to deal with the management because uh, I would like to share one example. Like one day in my previous organization, I got a concern from the management side, from the client end, that your team cycle time is very high. It is beyond the 5 or 6 days. Their cycle time is within 5 days for a 10 day sprint. So how they're calculating the cycle time is from when the story got working progress status to the accepted status. That time being should not be more than 5 days. So for last 2 3 sprints, uh, my team having their cycle time more than 6 days, like it was almost 6.57 like that. So previously, when I used to get any request from the management, I got scared. I got confused how to deal with it, why they are saying so, how I can protect my team. But gradually, I learned. So here, when I get this request, I first hear their point of view. Very, I start to I mm, try to understand why they are saying so, because all this sprint they have not told anything. Now why they are saying so? So I asked my manager, like, what make you think so? So he told me, like, every month we published some matrices where cycle time is one of the matrices, where the teams who are from past 2 3 sprints are going beyond that cycle time. We are reaching out to them to understand the reason. Then I said, okay. Then I explained him that, see, these are the stories which we have worked in last 2 3 sprint, which crossed the SLA, because these stories are bit complex. And I also explained what is the challenges team has faced, for which it took a little bit more time. So by when I gave them the proper data, they understood it. They understood and they said, okay, just take care of this from the next time, and it's then fine. If you have handled only the complex user story from past 2 3 sprints, it's fine. So they were convinced on that. So from my point of view, I will suggest here that whenever you are getting any kind of concern or request from external or internal as well, first try to listen carefully. Like, you listen to understand, don't listen to reply. I used to listen to reply, so that's where I went wrong previously. But later on, I learned from my experiences, have some empathy, try to understand what made them to ask those questions, be ready with the proper data, and then explain them. It won't be that difficult to convince them if you have proper data and you have handled it with empathy. So that is one of the suggestion from my end. I will suggest everyone to try that and let us know how it works for you.
Brilliant. Absolutely. So when we talked about Scrum Master, we thought that the only role, most of the time, it's
Hmm.
all about team. But then apart from team, you have other stakeholders as well. So the point is, before saying no, ask why you want to do this, even if you want this report, why you need that report. Is there any alternative? How I can help you with that, right? And then take any decision. Then you come up with your own answers or whatever the logic which you want to give, but listen to them carefully, right? They are also important stakeholders. They are getting some beating from somewhere else, and that's the reason they come to you, right? Because you are in a way representing your team. So it's very important to have that kind of relationship with your manager, with your stakeholders, with your client, right? So yeah, without their buy-in, sometimes it's very difficult to go ahead with couple of action items, right? So that's great point, Sahili, I would say. Oh, that's it. Wow,
Yeah.
wow, guys. So friends, I really thoroughly enjoy this session. because if I'll see myself as a new Scrum Master, right? And if I'll go with each point which Saheli has mentioned, that's, I think, apply to 100% people who are going to start their career as a Scrum Master. I myself have made these mistakes when I started my journey, and that time no one was there to tell us all those things, right? But now things have improved a lot. We have so much content, so many people's, incredible peoples are there out there. So reach out to those people, be part of all those committees. There are hundred of committees out there. If you want to join us, please join us. We are now opening up our WhatsApp group to each and everyone, whoever wants to join us in the new year. So if you want to join us, please do that. And at the end, subscribe to our channel, spread the news, spread this, the work which all our team members are doing in the career talk. So yeah, with this thought, again, I really want to thank you, Sahili, and we would love to see your more session in future. The way you have answered, the way you have explained, it shows your maturity and how much progress you have made over the year, I would say. So all the best, Sahili, and keep doing the great work.
Thank you, Sinan.
Okay, guys. So with this thought, let me close this session and see you guys. Bye.